Okay, let's start. It's interrogating and engaging with academic writing with a specific focus on the structure of our writing. And students, I would like to welcome you here. And it's a workshop on academic writing, part of academic literacy practices. So we want to get into structured writing. We have already started. I did with you previous workshops. Academic writing focusing on expository or discussion writing. So we are comparing a discussion with an argumentative writing. So we saw the differences. We said, okay, fine, with academic exposition, we're looking at balanced exploration of a particular subject, whilst argumentative writing, our focus is on the persuasion of a reader or viewer or audience to see things our way. And this is what we are busy with. I touched on counter arguments as a way of strengthening our arguments in argumentative writing. And so we are guided, of course, into this form of writing by the instructional verbs that are used in the topic. And so we pay attention to that so that we do not respond using a format which is inappropriate. So we know the format structure for a discussion, different how it differs from the structure of an argumentative writing. So these are the kind of things that we are doing. We were able to do others previously, but now our focus is on this particular one, argumentative writing. Let us now look at argumentative writing. Drawing on what we did previously, it is structured. This is academic brain. It is structured. Academic writing is structured. I spoke about this. We should, as I said, define argumentative writing, integrate counter arguments in argumentative writing, organize paragraphs logically. We know we should use logical connectors, use connecting devices effectively to ensure our writing flows together or to ensure unity of the text. So what is argumentative writing? We are able to define it. We've done it in our previous workshop. And here is where we're comparing the two forms or types of writing, expository with argumentative writing. We defined argumentative writing. We sort of support one point of view subjectively in order for the reader to be convinced that our point of view is right. And so this is the format of academic, rather of argumentative writing. Presented this in a previous workshop. And I also briefly introduced how to conclude an argumentative essay. And so I also introduced to you the counter arguments, how to formulate them. This is the structure of a counter argument and refutation paragraph or rebuttals paragraph, and how to frame it, and also use mind mapping. I have presented this to you as well. It's important to plan your essay carefully. So I also wanted you to write based on academic and vocational qualification and essay. Obviously, it was an argumentative because of the instructional verbs. Take a stance and argue your point with valid examples. So we did that. This is an outline of how to do an introduction or write an introduction of argumentative essay. And we actually examined this sample introduction of argumentative essay. We said this was, in fact, an introduction, a good introduction for an argumentative essay. We did that. And so I want us to look at the other example of argumentative essay introduction. If you look at this with me, it says there, the topic, this is another example. Remember, just to recap briefly, writing an introduction, you try to express the main topic or the entire essay right at the beginning. That is the thesis statement. You do that, and then you also do the so you start with a thesis statement if you like, and then you also try to keep the reader interested in your essay by writing a very interesting introduction. You also, bullet number 4, give necessary background information or definitions if you like. You avoid using details or giving details in examples. And also remember, a good introduction gives the reader information that summarizes the body of your essay and gives the reader a way to predict the structure of the essay as a whole. So this is very important, that the ideas which you are going to expand in the body of your essay, the ideas are actually introduced in the introduction and are expanded, of course, in the body paragraphs. But that summary of ideas is important in the introduction. And this is the sample introduction which we did, but I also want to give you a sample introduction which has been broken or analyzed in order for you to see how things fit together in the introduction. So we have here a topic given right at the top, and the topic that is given right at the top reads, in modern society, there is a pronounced, this is the topic, there is a pronounced focus on the body and what it takes to achieve so-called beauty by means of diet, exercise, and plastic surgery. It's just a topic. I'm just going to show you how those features of an introduction are evident in this introduction. In your opinion, does society go too far in its obsession with weight and physical beauty? Write an argumentative essay which demonstrates your own stance or your stance. So if you look with me at the introduction, we want to see if this introduction has the following points in it. Does it have a thesis statement? The first one should be thesis statement. Does it have a thesis statement? We should say yes, it has a thesis statement. Does it keep the reader interested in reading the whole essay? It should be written so clearly that it makes the reader want to go on reading the essay up to the end. Does it give necessary background information or definitions? It should, but it's not compulsory. Does it use examples and details, or does it avoid this? Examples and details should always be used in the body of your essay. Does it have, is it a good introduction that summarizes or introduces a summary of ideas which will be developed in the essay as a whole? When we look at this, we say it is about society being obsessed with looks, diet, exercise, and plastic surgery. But then the topic says, does society go too far with weight and physical beauty? And write an argumentative essay. Is there an obsession with weight and physical beauty in society? And so the topic, rather the paragraph reads as follows, the introduction reads as follows. In my observation, there is no obsession with weight and physical beauty in society. In fact, let me just read it as a whole. Then from there, we'll then look at the little bits, how they fit together. In my observation, there is no obsession with weight and physical beauty in society. The term obsession in the context of the topic refers to the continual preoccupation to a troubling extent with one's body weight and physical beauty. Body consciousness is not an obsession, but a health concern about your physical look. Therefore, your dietary concern, regular exercise, and visiting a local spa for body treat may yield significant health benefit for the young and old alike. Right, what are these parts of the introduction? Remember, we said an introduction, a good introduction should begin or should have a thesis statement. We also said it may include what? Definitions or background information or both. We also said it should introduce the summary of ideas which are going to be um, ideas which are to be developed in the body of the essay. Right? We have here the introduction paragraph written. In my observation, there is no obsession. Um, we we know now that the thesis statement consists of the topic and the writer's position on the topic. So if you look at the controlling idea there, it is the writer's position on the topic. In fact, the writer's position or controlling idea and the topic are given right at the beginning of the introduction. Therefore, the writer has started with, or the student has started with the thesis statement. It's quite good because we encourage you to start with the thesis statement consisting of the topic and how you intend addressing that topic. If you look at the thesis statement of the student here, it says there is no obsession. This is the student's position on the topic, weight and physical beauty in society. Therefore, as the reader, I know what to expect in this essay that the student is going to write has taken a position. Remember, it is an argumentative essay. The student has to argue in favor. She has to argue against what what the topic states, that there is a pronounced focus on the body. People wanting to achieve so-called beauty by means of diet, exercise, and plastic surgery. Do you agree? State, does society go too far in its obsession with weight and physical beauty, in your opinion? And then the student has chosen the stance or position that there is no obsession with weight and physical beauty in society. And then he goes on and he writes, so I have the topic there above, topic and controlling idea, which forms a thesis statement. Indeed, the student has started the introduction with a thesis statement. The student continues and he writes, the term obsession in the context of the topic. Now, when he says context, it means he defines obsession as used in the topic, or taking the topic into consideration. So he defines the meaning of obsession. Now, he also does this to give the reader his interpretation of obsession. And so he says the term obsession in the context of the topic refers to the continual preoccupation to a troubling extent with one's body weight and physical beauty. This is the definition. This is the working definition that the student is using to refer to obsession. He says it is the continual preoccupation to a troubling extent with one's body weight and physical beauty. It's like that's a preoccupation, continually preoccupied, to even troubling, disturbing extent about your weight and physical beauty. Body consciousness, according to the student, is not an obsession, but a health concern about your physical look. Therefore, your dietary concern, regular exercise, and visiting a local spa for body treat may yield significant health benefits for the young and old alike. Now, here, written in blue, the information that the student gives summarizes the body of the essay. In other words, he gives the reader a way to predict the structure of the essay. In other words, he gives the ideas which he will develop in the body of the essay. In other words, his argument will rest upon the following claims. He claims that diet, that dietary concern. He claims that regular exercise. He claims that visiting a local spa. are not an obsession, but these are ways that a person, um, these are ways that the person um, is able to lead a healthy lifestyle, right? These are not obsession, but a normal way of leading a healthy lifestyle, according to the student. So they may yield significant health benefit for the young and old alike. So he sees benefit in regular exercise, in dietary, in eating proper food or good or healthy food, in visiting a local spa for treating the body. He sees this as a way of keeping healthy and not as an obsession in order to be beautiful or look beautiful and physically and also being occupied with losing weight. He's just saying these are ways people keep healthy, and he's going to argue using those points. Diet is not obsession. Exercising is not obsession. Visiting a local is not an obsession. It's just to actually have show that you are conscious of the benefits, health benefit of doing these kind of activities. Right. That's an introduction. I think it's a beautiful introduction. It covers all things that are expected in an introduction. For example, number one, it has a thesis statement, as you can see here. It has a thesis statement. That is number one. Number two, it also, what is a thesis statement? A thesis statement consists of the topic and the controlling idea. It has both in the thesis statement. Also, it gives the necessary background information or definition. In this case, it has actually given us the definition of obsession, which is quite good. And we also have what? A summary of ideas that the student will develop further in the body of the essay. Yes, those that are written in blue letters are summaries, are the summary of ideas that the student would write more about in the body of the essay. We did this activity last time when we were analyzing this introduction, and we found that this introduction is indeed fit for purpose. It has all the things that are required for a good introduction. And so what about the body paragraphs? There's no need for us to work on introduction again. We've already done that. What about the body paragraphs? We have the body paragraph that consists of the topic sentence and ideas that develop the topic sentence. In other words, the topic sentence carries the main idea of the paragraph, and the topic sentence is developed in the same paragraph. It's developed with an explanation of what that means, what that idea means, main idea means, and also evidence that supports that main idea in the form of examples or in the form of statistics, right? In that way, you are developing the main idea, and it ends with the link sentence. Now, if you look at this body paragraph here, it is based on the role of men in perpetuating child abandonment. I want you to quietly read this paragraph and then indicate if it is a good paragraph for, if it is a paragraph for argumentative essay or expository or discussion essay. I want you to read it and then indicate if it's expository or argumentative essay paragraph. Okay, Tibato seems to think or thinks that it is a expository. Oh, thank you very much. That is correct. It is expository or discussion essay. Indisiwe also thinks it's a discussion or expository because it presents both sides and brings a problem and a solution. That is correct. Let's look at this paragraph together. Thank you very much for that. I am pleased to see that you are able to do that. I like it because it's nicely structured paragraph. It is indeed expository essay paragraph. It actually explores the role of sugar daddies in perpetuating child abandonment, gives information about that. and it ends with a, of course, it uses PIL structure. You see PIL right in the middle, right at the top above child abandonment. It starts with a P, which is the main point, and then it explains it, and then it provides evidence to support the claim that the child abandonment is actually perpetuated by sugar daddies, and the last sentence is the link is underlined. In other words, it actually addresses the topic. As such, sugar daddies, I'm reading the underlined part at the bottom. As such, sugar daddies may be viewed as culpable for the rising number of street children in South Africa. In other words, they are the ones who are perpetuating child abandonment, and it addresses that topic, the last sentence, the link, because it links with the topic. Right. Here's another paragraph. It is actually broken down for you already. And I want you to read this and type in the chat box whether it's a paragraph for expository or it's a paragraph for argumentative writing. Right, we now have the responses from the two students. Let's look at the first. Remember, the question was, is it a discussion or is it an argumentative writing? Tibazo says it is a discussion because it brings out the issue they are facing now and explains further on what could happen if this issue is not being resolved, and also provides a solution. Okay. And Sindisiwe says it's an argumentative essay paragraph because it has a thesis statement, or it has that would be the topic sentence, and with a stance in the main point, but with a simple structure. Okay, thank you very much. Let's look at the paragraph itself, simple structure discussion. Let's look at the paragraph itself. It says, we need to, the topic sentence, it says, we need to invest in a new email server. So one says it's argumentative and the other is expository. Let's look at why the two students think in that way. First, the slow speed and underline. So we need to invest in a new server, new email server. One, explaining why it's important to invest in a new email server. The slow speed and unreliability of the present equipment is becoming a serious inconvenience. While the cost of replacing the server and accompanying software will be very high, the cost of not doing so is going to be even higher in lost time and productivity. It would not be an exaggeration to say that for the last 3 months, we lost more than 1,000 billable hours as a result of the poor condition of our equipment. The average hourly rate per user is $30. Thus, those lost hours of productivity have cost the company more than $30,000. Also, consider the impact on our company's reputation when the clients have problems communicating with us. Right? We cannot afford to wait any longer to invest in a new equipment and technology. In fact, over the long term, replacing the email server will actually increase productivity and profitability. I agree with Sindisiwe. It's argumentative paragraph because he supports why new email server is important. He wants to persuade the reader to, whoever he wants to persuade, to buy the new email server. He looks at the advantages of the disadvantages of the current old new server, that it costs the company a lot of money. Already it is putting a figure of $30,000 in lost monies, or in terms of the costs on the company as a result of the old server. And he says the old server also is making communication with our clients difficult. So he is actually arguing that it is important to have a new email server. And of course, the first sentence there, the first point is the topic sentence, which presents the main point. And the main point is investing in a new email server. And he explains why the new email server is important. He gives evidence of the evidence of the losses as a result of the old email server. And he concludes by saying that it is indeed prudent to, or important, or it is what it is prudent to invest in a new email server. So it is argumentative writing. He is trying to persuade whoever it may concern to invest in a new email server instead of continuing using the old one, because it costs the company a lot of money. So it's argumentative. And the structure, you can see it has PIL. It has the main point, which is in the topic sentence. It has the explanation and evidence in the form of statistics. How many hours are lost as a result of this? And what is the cost on the company as a result of continuing with the old server? And he also concludes with the link sentence, which brings the paragraph to a satisfactory close. And he actually addresses the topic, why the new email server is important. So he says replacing the server will actually increase productivity and profitability, which is why we say this is argumentative as a paragraph. Right. Remember, I spoke about a counter argument, right? I also spoke about the counter argument, and that in argumentative writing, we should include a counter argument. Remember that. I think you do. But let me say, in recapping counter arguments, when we write argumentative essays, we're trying to convince the reader that they should follow our views. We are persuading them that our views are correct and they should support our views. And that is persuasive writing. Now, one of the ways to strengthen your argument is by including counter arguments. In other words, you need to think about what your opponents could be thinking on the same topic. In other words, you want to include points which attack your own argument. You need to include points which could be used by your opponent to criticize your arguments. So those are your counter arguments. You need to include them in your argumentative essay. So when you include the counter arguments, you are not weakening or exposing your own writing, but you are actually strengthening your arguments. So let us look at the counter arguments. How to write a counter argument paragraph, because I spoke about it, but we did not actually see how that can be done. Now we want to look at it. Remember, we want to include opposing views in our own argumentative essay, and our intention is to rebut or attack, or is to refute those views and reconnect ourselves with our own original argument. This is the structure of a paragraph, a counter argument paragraph. If you look at this paragraph, I'm going to read it all together before we analyze it. It says the government should allow refugees to live in our country if they risked their lives trying to get here and have nowhere else to go. It is the humane. Now, this is, by the way, this is your argument. This is your claim. This is what, okay, wait a minute. What am I saying? This is the thesis statement. This is what the position you have taken in the introduction. In the introduction, you wrote, the government should allow refugees to live in our country. Refugees. Okay, this is what you said. This is your thesis statement in the introduction. The government should allow refugees to live in our country. Now, somewhere in your paragraphs, you go on to write your counter argument paragraph. And then you begin your counter argument paragraph by writing, it is the humane and ethical thing to do. In other words, allowing the refugees to live in our country is humane, it's ethical thing to do, it's a good thing to do. It could also make our country look more friendly and respected by other countries. That is why this is your argument. And then you now turn against that argument. And then you say, however, critics of this argument, or you could say critics of this argument, such as Martin 2015 and Mtimkulu 2024, argue or state that this could also make the country look weak. So those who are criticizing my views about making that having refugees come will make us as a country look humane and look and be seen as conducting ourselves in an ethical manner, and this will give the country more points. It will build a positive reputation of our country because we will look more friendly, and even become more respected. Those who are against including or rather allowing refugees here, the critics, they argue that however, the critics argue that this could make our country look weak. This is the counter argument that those who are opposed to your views can have. Allowing excess illegal immigrants in would have plenty of problems. This is what they say, the critics. This is what they say. Allowing excess illegal immigrants in would have plenty of problems with immigration law and is not fair for other countless thousands of immigrants that have unsuccessfully applied. So they argue that if you allow them in, first, it will make our country look weak. Second, it will create problems with immigration laws. Third, it will be unfair to those immigrants who tried to apply but were unsuccessful. All right, these are the counter arguments to your argument, which says we should allow them in because it will make us look humane, it will make us look ethical, it will make our country to look friendly and to be respected in the world. But they say no, they are countering and they say no, it would actually make us look weak. They say it would actually create problems with the immigration laws. They say it will create problems with immigrants who had actually been unsuccessful when they applied to be received in our country. Right? Now, this is what they say. Now, I want you to rebut, I want you to refute, I want you to attack these counter arguments. They say it would look weak, it would have problems, create problems with immigration laws. They say it would have countless thousands it would be unfair on those many immigrants who tried to apply but were unsuccessful. Now, I want you to write your refutation of these counter arguments. Your refutation. You can refute it in 1 or 2 sentences. And then having done so, I want you to turn back to your argument. Your argument is it is a humane and ethical thing to do to allow refugees to enter into our country. It will make our country look friendly. It will also become respected before other nations in the world. So what is your activity? Your activity is to refute or attack or rebut these counter arguments and turn back to your original argument. In other words, you are saying why these arguments, these counter arguments are wrong. And then you then go back to your original argument to say yours is correct, is right, to beef it up. I hope you understand what you should do. So I want that part of this counter argument paragraph, which is missing, to be added by you, where you include the refutation and you turn back, you write a sentence that turns back to your original argument. Okay, because that's how it should be. And those will then be included here. We will include them here to see how it reads together. You see, when we write argumentative essay, we say why our views are correct. It's like when you are doing a debate. In a debate, you present your views in a powerful manner so that you persuade people to believe what you are saying to be right. This is a debate. It is similar to argumentative writing, where you want to persuade the reader to believe you, to believe your views, to believe your opinion. And so when you are in a debate, for example, it is important to also consider what those who are opposing you may be thinking about your views. It is important that you consider what those who hold opposing views to yours may be thinking about your views, and to include their views about yours in your own writing. We call that counter argument. In other words, I am saying death penalty must be brought back in South Africa. People who commit serious crimes must be given death penalty. And I argue that it should be brought back. It should be introduced. People who commit serious crimes must be sentenced to death. As I'm doing that in my argumentative writing, I'm also thinking about those who believe death penalty must not be brought back. They may be saying that if you kill someone, once that someone is gone forever. What if in future you find that he did not do it? You can't bring them back to life. So what you do in a counter argument, you include that argument which they say, which they hold, in your own essay where you are saying death penalty must be brought back. You say there are people or there are scholars who say that once that death penalty is final, once a person is dead, you can't bring them back to life. What if new evidence comes or surfaces and the person cannot be brought back to life, and it is proven that they are not the ones who had actually committed that crime? So that is one argument. Now, how do you actually counter that? How do you now rebut that and show that even when they are gone and new evidence surfaces that shows that they did not commit the crime, why that decision taken to give them death penalty was the correct decision taken by the judge? You get the point? And so you would say that yes, they may have been given death penalty on the basis of wrong information that was processed as right information at the time. However, this it does not mean that the decision that was taken was unfair. On the basis of the strength of evidence before the judge at the time, a decision was then taken to find them guilty for the crime that they were assumed to have committed at the time. Therefore, we cannot feel bad to say that we have killed an innocent person. Yes, they are innocent on the basis of new evidence that has actually emerged, but we gave the matter 2 years to 3 years to allow for such evidence to surface, it never surfaced within that time. And we are using death penalty to bring down the high levels of crime in our society. We have so many cases of murder, so many cases of rape, so many cases of violent killings. So for us to bring these things down, we need to act very decisively on those who commit such serious crimes. Um, so I am taking that view, which says that what if new evidence comes and that person who has been killed is now found to be innocent? You get the point. So what I have done, I have included the counter argument in my own argument in order to attack it, in order to rebut it, or in order to refute it. And I then go back to say that death penalty, therefore, must be introduced in order to make our country a safe country for all to live in it. All right. That is just to give you a picture of what we are expected to do when we write a what when we write a counter argument or include a counter argument in our own essay. So that paragraph which we are working on, it's a paragraph that is a good example of a counter argument paragraph, but it is not complete. I left out the refutation where you as the student are expected now to fill in that part where you would attack or counteract or react to the counter arguments raised by those who hold a different view to your views about us looking friendly when we allow refugees to come. They say, no, it will make the country look weak. No, it will be unfair on those who follow the right process but are turned down. No, it will not be fair because there are so many problems. It will create many problems with our immigration laws. How do you argue against those counter arguments? How do you refute? How do you attack those counter arguments? You include that part in the paragraph and you then you then go back to your original argument as well. And that part I will include in this paragraph that is before your screen and make it one paragraph and read it together as a counter argument paragraph. That is what I want you to do. Okay, so we have a paragraph, a counter argument paragraph, which includes the last or the part of refutation or rebuttal and turning back to your original argument. So we're going to read and see how it fits together with what Sindisiwe has written. So the counter argument, you start always with your own argument, which is it is the humane. This is just an example, an ethical thing to do. It could also make the country look more friendly and respected by other countries. However, this could also make the country look weak. Okay, those who hold a different view say it would make the country look weak, allowing access illegal immigrants in would have plenty of problems with immigration law, and it is not fair for other countless thousands of immigrants that have unsuccessfully applied, even though they went through the suggested legal process. In contrast with the idea, put security in the border gates and offer documents to those applicants on time, or rather in time, and having clear laws for immigrants will make other countries respect our country. Nelson Mandela, 1994, stated that we South Africans have Ubuntu and understand the position of refugees, as some of our political heroes have been in that position. The democracy we have is for us all, even for our fellow brothers who have not yet received their freedom. Okay, brilliant. I like the turning back to your original point, Sindisiwe. The refutation that you are giving, you are refuting the ideas of those who say no, if we open up for the refugees, it will make us look weak. Now, how do you counter that? You say, in contrast, the security at the border gate um, is enough to make us not look weak. And how do you counter the view that it would have problems, create problems with the immigration law? It would have problems with plenty of plenty of problems with the immigration law. You say offer documents to those applicants on in time, and having clear laws for immigrants will make our country respect other countries respect our country. So basically, you are countering those views that say that no, it will create problems for our immigration laws. And then you say that Nelson Mandela, now this is you now going back to your original argument about opening up for the refugees, where you say Nelson Mandela in 1994 stated that we have Ubuntu. Now you are going back to your original argument and understand the position of refugee, as some of our political heroes have been in that position. The democracy we have is for us all, and even fellow brothers who have not yet received their freedom. Good, 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 good. Well done. You have included the refutation. You have refuted or rebutted or rejected the ideas that those who hold a different view may say or may state. And you have done that by stating why their views are wrong. And having done that, you then moved and said, you are wrong thinking like this. It's better to think like me, considering what Mandela said about Ubuntu, about how they too, many of them were in that same position as the refugees, and that this democracy belongs to all people, including those who do not have their freedom. Perfect. Nice. Thanks. You have done it. You have. This is what I was looking for. And at least I have it now. And it should actually, Tibacho, show you what I was actually expecting. I was expecting to have a refutation and you turning back to your original argument in the same paragraph that which we call a rebuttal paragraph. All right. Okay. Now, what about a conclusion? If you have a question, please raise it. But I think I will take that. And then Tebato writes, I have one from Tebato. We are all equal. Says, I'm not sure. Say this was a challenging one. Okay, let me see, Tebato. We are all equal, and it is not a thing when immigrants come to our country. Having a united nation will give us a good reputation, and for this reason, immigration procedure should be followed and rules should be adhered to. Isn't that they say this will create problems with our immigration law? They also say it will make our country look weak. Show them that it won't make our country look weak. Show them that it would not make us look weak as a country. Show them that it would not create problems with the immigration laws. Show them that it would not at all be unfair on those who had to go through the legal process of applying to be immigrants in our country, yet they were turned down. That it would not be fair on those as well, having these refugees come into our country. Show them why. And then after that, say that we are all equal. This is now you going back to your original argument. What you say, we are all equal, and it is not a thing when immigrants come and to our country. Okay. And then you come here and you say, after all, our country is a democratic nation where discrimination and apartheid are being overcome. We fought for freedom and nobody should be treated otherwise. I think this part and the first part are fine as you going back to your original argument. However, the middle part where you are refuting or attacking or rejecting those views, The middle part is not clear. Do you understand what I'm saying, Dibat? I can see he is typing. Understood. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Let us now go forward. Let us now go forward. I think it was a good activity to actually get us to work on counter argument paragraph, and we've done it very, very well there. So we go to the next slide, and the next slide says writing a conclusion for an argumentative essay. Here you state again the thesis statement that you started with in the introduction. You sum up in new words what you have been saying. And of course, here is a paragraph. It's a concluding paragraph. And when we look at this paragraph, do you think this is a paragraph, a good paragraph for a concluding paragraph for an argumentative? Is it an argumentative essay paragraph conclusion, or is it an expository essay conclusion? Right. Let us look at the responses. Debato says it is an argumentative essay conclusion because this essay can have a different view from someone else. Yes, it is open for discussion. Hence, I'm saying it's open for argument. So it's argumentative essay. Okay. Then Sindisiwe writes, I think the conclusion is correct because it combines the ideas and summarizes the ideas and summarizes the conclusion that supports the thesis statement. To this, I'm not sure. Okay, let's look at it again. So it's the same topic that I asked that we work on. And so it says, in view of the above, so some things were written in the body, the points that supports the topic or whatever develops the topic were included in the body. So the writer says, in view of the above, is to begin an introduction with that phrase, in view of the above, or looking at the points stated in above. Society has not gone too far in the so-called obsession with weight and physical beauty. That is the thesis statement. He's restating it. Remember, in that introduction, the writer said that there is no obsession with weight and physical beauty in society. Then he's restating that, and he says society has not gone too far in the so-called obsession with weight and physical beauty. So he begins with where he started in the conclusion. He started like this in the introduction. He concludes in the same way by restating the thesis statement that he started the essay with. Then after that, he sums up in new words, using new words, what he has, or the writer has been saying. He says, in fact, there are enduring health benefits for the active lifestyle. In other words, there are benefits of engaging in active lifestyle, like going to gym or doing exercises, and healthy eating habits, and having an eating plan. In addition, positive self-image can boost one's confidence levels and chances of success in life, as illustrated in this essay. In other words, the essay has proven that there are benefits, health benefits for active lifestyle and also eating healthy foods. And therefore, people, when they have a positive self-concept or image, their levels of confidence rise and chances of success likewise rise. So it's a beautiful concluding paragraph for an argumentative essay, indeed. Okay. And then we go to this, and this one here, it is the writing process. You know, before you write an essay, be it expository or argumentative, you need to plan. If you look at the writing wheel, I'm reading at the top, it says the writing process. You can redo the previous stage in case of unsatisfactory elements in a specific writing area. We start at number 1, planning. What do we do in the planning? Like, you are starting, this is the writing process for expository or argumentative essay. You start by planning. What is this plan? Where you have a plan, a writing plan, uh, weeks before the submission. In other words, you time yourself by by when should I have my drafts, and by when should I be done in order to submit my final. If you look at uh, uh, stage 2 in the writing process, it is pre-writing. It's before you write. You've planned, you've arranged your time quite well, and you now do some things before you actually write. What do? You have a topic. What do you do with the topic? You analyze that topic. If you look at pre-writing, these are the things that you do before you actually write a draft. You analyze the topic. This will help you to understand what you are required to do. Having analyzed and understood what you are required to do, you then gather, if it's a research essay, you gather evidence or information relevant to the topic, and then you generate ideas by brainstorming. Then you organize those ideas. Which one do I start with, like in a mind map? Which one do I continue with? Which one do I end with? So you arrange your ideas in a manner that you believe is correct, logical, and easy to follow. And stage number 3, where you are now actually writing a draft, not yet final, but a draft essay. You then do what? Number 1, use your pre-writing notes, organize your writing into paragraphs. Each paragraph should include its own topic sentence. Type your essay in MS Word using MS Word. 4, do not focus on correcting mistakes at the phase or during the stage of drafting. Focus on letting your ideas flow. 6, use an outline or mind map of your main ideas. 7, support or develop the main ideas. That is drafting phase. Phase number 4, which is reflection. Here you look back, self-evaluate. You ask, has the topic been addressed? When you read your draft, when you look back at your draft, you are asking the question, did I address the topic in this draft? And did I include any irrelevant or unnecessary information in this draft? Is the essay purpose or aim clear to the reader? And are there any gaps which I need to fill? Even at this stage, it's advisable to consider using peer review. In other words, give it to your peer or another student to review your essay, to assess your work, so that you can get feedback from them. Then, having done that, you then do what? You then do a revision. You revise your essay. Here, you improve the draft by making changes at the level of ideas. Maybe there is an idea that you have included which you need to remove. You do that. This is part of revising your work. You make changes at the level of ideas, at the level of structure, at the level to promote coherence and cohesion, that is text unity. You check it again, you revise it again in order to improve it. And finally, you edit. So there's a revision and then there's editing. These are two different things in the writing process. When you're editing, you identify and remove irrelevant materials. You insert missing material and make paragraphs or sentences around for logic and clarity. You proofread. Now, you find what we call the spelling errors, sentence structure errors. Then you correct those. That is the editing phase. Then once you have edited and you are happy, you can now write your final and then submit. Transition words. These are words which we use to transition between sentences and paragraphs. I want to say they help create unity of text. When you use them, they show relationship between the sentences that you use in your essay. I encourage you to use them. For example, furthermore, on the other hand, next, in addition, on the contrary, by contrast, I've introduced you already to these words. These are signpost words or direction markers or logical connectors. Use them in your writing. They'll give your writing unity or they will make your writing to flow. They will show relationship between your ideas. Use them. Okay. Right. Now, this is a paragraph. I think I've covered all areas that I needed to cover. Of course, I have worked with you on this, and this is just a repeat of what I have said. When you do a conclusion, you restate the thesis statement, you sum up in new words what you have been saying. And of course, this is the example that we worked with. And I also want to say that in this workshop, we were able to do the following. We're able to define argumentative writing. We're able to integrate counter arguments. We did it. To see how a paragraph should be organized. We're able to say this paragraph is suitable for argumentative writing or discursive writing. And we were also exposed to the logical or connecting devices as seen there. Now, I want us to work on this. I want us to identify the following in this activity. I want you to underline the topic sentence up. You don't underline, you just write next to, you type topic sentence, then you write the topic sentence next to that. And then having done so, I want you to also just the topic sentence because of time, just the topic sentence and also the logical connectors or link words which are used in the paragraph. This is the paragraph. Please focus on the first bullet and the last bullet only. Okay. Thank you very much, Tibacho. Thank you, Cindy Siwe. Let's look at them. You say, Tibacho, that topic sentence, we must not forget the possibility that criminal could be innocent. Transition words, utterly, in case, in this case. So therefore, to cater and by. And then this way says the first two sentences are the thesis statements. The logical connectors are utterly, final, therefore. Let's look at the paragraph in closing. I'll do it quickly. I don't want to keep you longer waiting. It says the first two sentences, we must not forget that the possibility that the criminal could be innocent. In this case, you're right. You're right. Yes, the first sentence is the topic sentence, and the second sentence, of course, explains that if they are innocent, they could be innocent, and so you'll be killing an innocent person. Just to explain the first one. So yes, the first sentence is the topic sentence, or the main idea is there that that a criminal could be innocent. Right? A criminal could be innocent. Okay. Of course, in this case, is the logical, is rather the connecting device. And then the next sentence, so is also a connecting device. So, or it's a logical connector. So an individual will have died needlessly. So yes, so there is a connecting device. Utterly final. The word utterly could mean completely. So it's not a logical connector or a connecting device. Okay, and then therefore is also a logical connector. So they are in this case. So therefore, so indeed the writer here also uses the logical connectors or linking devices to try and make their writing to be to have a logical flow or to flow together and to show the relationship between the ideas. So I encourage that we use that. Of course, this paragraph here, it's a paragraph for an argumentative essay. Of course, it does have all of that to give the reasons why we should not have death penalty at all. And the reasons are given, and it ends with a linked sentence. Of course, there are examples of logical connectors that are used, and I always want to encourage students to use those in their own writing. Students, I would like to thank you for attending and your patience, and thank you very much